No. It hasn't been that long. Some people don't even think about death until somebody dies. They don't think about death until the surgeon says something like terminal, incurable. And we go, oh no. Because we don't even deal with death. Death was an everyday fact. It still is an everyday fact. It is still the end of everybody's story, isn't it? We just don't think about it. The crowd that came out to see Jesus, what did they think about death? It's inevitable. When's it going to happen? We get a fever, what do? Oh, we take some aspirin, knock the fever down. Take some Tylenol, feel better, sleep, take lots of fluids. Tell everybody to use the sanitizers. Right? 80 years ago, you got a fever. It was a serious thing. It may mean that you don't get up out of that bed. We think of death in a whole different way now, don't we? These people thought about death. And the idea that somebody could call somebody back to life after death, I'm going to go see that guy. I'm going to go out I'm going to go see this guy. I heard this story about, I'm not sure whether I believe it or not, but man, if the guy was dead for 4 days and he came, I'm going to go see this guy. Because your most primal fear, whether you know it or not, is death. Is death. And you might not face that. You might go months, years without even thinking about it. You may not have ever thought about it. You may never have come to the realization that your life is going to end in death. People say, oh, didn't think about that. What have we done? What have we done? We've tried to take away the people's fear. There is only one person who has the power over death. And if he was coming to town, and you heard that he could call a deathbed to life, would you show up? Would you go look at him? Would you join in the singing? Hey, here comes the king. Cool. Give me a palm branch. I'll put my coat down. If this guy can beat death, I want to see him. That's what was going on when they came. Jesus has beat death. He's beat death for you. He's died so you don't have to be separated from God. He's died so you don't have to be eternally separated, which is what the word death means. He's taken care of that for you, and we celebrate it every Sunday. And we remember it. Sometimes it just slips our mind and we just forget, that's not what it's about. But because we don't think about death, we don't like to think about it. But as disciples we do. We think about it every Sunday. And we don't mourn. And we don't get down. We have reason to have joy. We have reason for hope. We have reason to give each other courage because Jesus is taking care of that. That's what John is doing with this story. Now you know where he's going to go from here? Someplace the other gospel writers never went. What you're going to get now in the next couple chapters of John are what the author wanted to get at. You're going to have 4 chapters of a kind of a rambling discourse that Jesus gave during that last night he was with his disciples. 4 chapters. Do you guys realize that the Sermon on the Mount is only 3 chapters? This is the longest discourse you're going to have of Jesus' teaching. And John said you needed to know that this is what Jesus said. And you know what it's going to be about? It's going to be about us being one and remaining in Jesus. Okay? That you don't have to come back for the next 4 weeks. No, we want you to come back. We really do. We want you to come back. Hopefully you'll read ahead, encourage you. But this is where John is going. He's saying, here's some teachings that Jesus gave that you need to hear. But let me tell you where we are now. This is when Jesus went into Jerusalem. And the whole crowd came out, spread palm branches out. And then he tells us, he says, in verse 19, so the Pharisees, remember our friends the Pharisees? The Jewish religious leaders, right? So the Pharisees said to one another, see, this is getting us nowhere. Look how the whole world has gone after him. It's really bothered the Pharisees. This turnout, this people cutting the branches and putting their coats down and singing really, really got to the Pharisees because the world is going after Jesus instead of them. It's getting us nowhere. There's only one thing we can do, and that's kill him. Jesus allowed himself to die. He allowed himself to become that sacrifice. He allowed his blood to be spilled. He allowed the body that he had to breathe its last for you and for me, to triumph over death for us. And we're going to celebrate that this morning.